I think the thing I really want someone to hear in your story is it turns around so fast.
Yeah.
When you just decide. You said something really key there. You said, I just decided. And once you decide, there's no more mental chatter. It's just like, once I've decided, what would I do next? Hey, you leader, entrepreneur, business owner, solopreneur, whatever you call yourself, we know you're a visionary business builder, wealth seeker looking to combine a passion for doing good with leading consciously. It's time to shift from a traditional focus of pure wealth accumulation to one that integrates well-being and fulfillment. This is the Conscious Edge podcast, and I'm Alecia St. Germain, entrepreneur and coach. Along with my friend and wellness advocate, Jonathan Duggar, we're diving into what it means to embody radical self-acceptance while still evolving to lead with compassion and kindness. We're sharing our own experiences and expertise as we unpack imposter syndrome, perfectionism, procrastination, and all the other things that lead to burnout and keep you from experiencing pure joy, business growth, and maximum impact. This is a safe and supportive space to explore what it means to be a human creating wealth and building a business. You're here for a purpose, and it's time to shine your light. So here we go. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I hear someone talk about something they have always dreamed of doing, an idea that they've had, something that sounds really, really fun that they'd love to do. And right behind it is all the reasons that they can't do it, or they worry about how they would make money doing it. And my guest that I have here with me today has the most perfect example of when you actually follow your calling and step into it, how much easier things get, how much more fun it gets. So let me officially welcome you back to the Conscious Edge podcast. I am your host, Alecia St. Germain, and I have with me today Sarah Guilliot.
Yes.
I was like, you said like guillotine, but Guilliot, got it. And she is, I always know her as Sarah G. Like, that's just what we call you.
Yes.
And Sarah is just such an incredible human. She has this amazing gift for writing. And you have probably read, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you have read something that Sarah has written, because she has the most incredible gift for taking my words, making them sound like me, but without all of the head stuff that sometimes accidentally comes out in my writing, or sometimes I can be a little long-winded and rambly. And she's so amazing at taking what I say and making it succinct and to the point and sound like me. So, Sarah, so excited to have you.
Oh, thanks, Alecia.
Yeah. And also she has the most amazing voice. So I know that you're going to enjoy listening to her on today's podcast. So Sarah, officially tell everybody what you do.
Yeah. So I'm a copywriter and brand messaging strategist, and I work with coaches and course creators and podcasters. A lot of those are like commingled in there. And what I do is I help you convert more clients with copy that sells the value of your offer without sacrificing your caring, empathetic heart. So like trying to get so it doesn't feel like sleazy sales tactics. I think you said to me yesterday that I sell without selling. And that's what I try to do with my clients, to help them sell in a way that feels super aligned to them and they feel really good about.
Which I so appreciate, because ultimately, I look at sales and the offers that we make as our contribution and gift and our give in the world. And so many people look at sales as being this icky, gross thing. But I love to pay for things that bring me joy, that help me do things better, that make my life easier, that make me feel good. And so this whole concept that someone wouldn't want to pay you for whatever it is that you do in the world, especially if it's your calling or that thing, it's just, how could it be sleazy? It's the tactics that make it sleazy. And so I think when you write, you are bringing forward that gift, that give, and you're really helping people see that value and why they would want to make that investment with someone. So it's really a talent of yours.
Oh, thank you, Alecia.
But I asked you to come on today because you have such an amazing journey that you've gone through with working in corporate, and then what you did when you decided you wanted more control over your time. And then the brave, courageous actions that you've taken to step into your calling. I talk a lot about callings, and sometimes there are things that don't seem like they make sense. But in hindsight, you're like, oh, okay, this makes so much sense. So where did your journey start? And then what did you initially start doing in your business? And then that has brought you now to copywriting.
Yeah. So I spent 20 years in corporate as a designer. I was a UX architect, which is a user experience architect. That's like figuring out how to get people to purchase the products on the sites, which was like Microsoft, GoDaddy, T-Mobile, and create that experience of them journeying through the site to buy the things. And that was all going great, made good money, went up, advancing up the ladder, but I wasn't happy. I was feeling trapped. I hated not having my freedom, especially I have 3 children, and it's hard to, when they're all sick and you're like, oh, I need more time off, and just feeling bad about it. And so I had a dream that was brewing for several years of doing my own thing, but it was so scary. I was terrified of like running a business, of like getting an LLC and all those things. And so I just kept kind of playing with the idea in the background, but not doing it. And then my husband had a stroke in his 30s, which I didn't think happened, right? Late 30s. And he's fine, by the way, completely recovered. But I remember sitting in the hospital room in the dark while he's resting. And I was just thinking, life is short. I can't just go along day after day and not ever try this thing just because I'm scared. Like, that's no reason not to give this a whirl. So that was where the like catalyst was that set me off on this journey of breaking out of corporate and doing my own thing. And at the time, I was feeling kind of burned out on doing design work directly with people on services. So I decided I was going to start this like Etsy empire. And that turned into a course. I had like coaching and courses around teaching people Photoshop. And just over the span of 6 to 8 years, I played around with a bunch of different types of businesses until one day, I think someone in a group was like, well, why don't you do service work? And, you seems like you're interested in copy. Why don't you do that? So that kind of morphed into me having this agency where I was doing website design, build, and all the copywriting. And that was feeling really big. And then just this past year or two, I've decided to simplify it down to just the copy only. And that wasn't an easy decision, as you know, because you were there while I was figuring that out.
Yeah. Okay. But before that, so let me double click on a couple pieces in there. So I did not realize, I don't think, that you have done a lot, like so many little things, different things before you actually landed on the web design piece. And so what was the belief that had you keep being willing? I mean, I know you said the moment was, I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to keep going and not trying because life is so short, but what was those failures like? Because I know so many people who go into business and the first time they fail, they quit. So what did it take? Like, is that just how you're wired, or how did you get through that?
I think just my desire to have this work and to have this freedom just outweighed all the other things. Like I did 2 partnership businesses. Like I partnered with someone that was inside of Etsy. And then I realized I didn't like what I was creating there. And so we parted ways amicably. And I also had like a custom printed water bottle business. It's like a swag business with another friend, which kind of fell apart during pandemic. But throughout all of that, in the background, I was also doing design work here and there because that's what I do. And that was my identity. I'm a designer, right? That's what I had done for years and years. So I'm like, well, I can always keep falling back on that thing. I don't know. I just wasn't willing to give up. I knew that if things like really got super hard and we just couldn't afford for me to keep trying, I also had a very supportive husband through all of this, right? That I could go back and just get a job again. But I really, I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to keep giving it my all as long as I could, as long as he didn't feel like he's been sacrificing and now I need to like step up and step back in again.
Well, and so then you get into the web design, kind of going back to roots, identity. It starts to work much better for you, but you're kind of burned out. And I remember you a little over a year ago and you're like, okay, I've got till first quarter of 2024. And then if this doesn't work at this level, at my goal here, I'm going to get a job. And so take me through this writing calling. Like you said, I'm going to go all in on this. I'm just going to be a copywriter and let go of all of these other things. Because this is what happens is you're sitting out there. You have so many things that you could do in the world. And I see this all the time is people don't want to like pick a skill or pick a thing and do it really, really well. Because it's like, well, I could help so many people and I could do so many things and I hate to miss an opportunity or I just want to say yes to everything. And this scarcity conversation of if I don't say yes, I will never be able to pay my bills comes in. So
exactly.
What'd you walk through in that time period where you had the courage to say, I am a copywriter?
Yeah, it wasn't easy. You saw me struggling through that. I feel like you talk about your calling, right? I feel like design was my first calling and now copy is my second calling. And it's funny now that I'm into it, like you said, you look back and there's like all these breadcrumbs. It was like a hero's journey story almost where you're like, oh, look at all those little things along the way that actually were proof that I could do this. So I made that decision. I was like, I really want to simplify. I want to make this copy only. I need to kind of work through this identity thing. And I asked my husband, I'm like, are we good through Q1? If I can get to our baseline money, can we get there? And I felt confident asking him that. I felt like calm and collected, like, okay, if I can't, I'll get a job. But I felt like I could. I don't know, maybe it was the support of the women that are around me and, in the group that I'm in. But I felt good asking him that. And he's like, yeah, we'll be okay. And then it just started falling into place. Once I had made the decision, I'm like, I am letting go of design outwardly. And I still like help out a few things behind the scenes because I am a designer at heart. But I'm going to focus on this copy and I'm going to start just reaching out to people and making offers and seeing what happens. And then things just started rolling and the momentum was just picking up. And suddenly it was easy. And I realized that like all this time I had been pushing like, oh, I'll just keep doing design. That works for me. I had all this resistance inside that I didn't realize was there. And I didn't have it about copy. Like I was excited to do the copy. I wasn't burned out on it. And I realized that there were all these like roots that had been inside of me for writing. I've always been good at writing, even since I was a little kid, that it's been there the whole time. And I don't know, it felt just really aligned. It felt easy. I was enjoying the work. And like when people would come to me, I didn't feel resistance or like I wanted to say no or put a bunch of blinders or brakes on it. I just wanted to say yes. I just said yes, yes, yes. And then they just kept coming and it just kept getting better.
And so you turned that around in 4 months from I'm going to get a job to, well, I made it through this quarter. Now I make it through this quarter. And I remember you like kept reporting back in like, I've made it through the end of the year, And so it just can turn around. I think the thing I really want someone to hear in your story is it turns around so fast.
Yeah.
When you just decide. You said something really key there. You said, I just decided. Mm-hmm. And once you decide, there's no more mental chatter. It's just like, once I've decided, what would I do next? Not how would I do it right? Or how do I get this thing all laid out and make it perfect? It was just, what do I do next? And we came up with you that you just need to make more offers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
once
because
I
you were
had that,
excited,
it was easy.
right? And because you were excited, and I have heard you say this before, is like, I want to be in their business. I want to have this opportunity to work with them. So it's as much a win for you. And it's more than just the money. It's like, I want to be able to convey their message. Mm-hmm. And so because you have that excitement for it, they feel that, and then they want to work with you. Mm-hmm. And it becomes very easy. So I think you're such a testament to, it does not have to be hard.
Yeah.
To step into this new place. The biggest thing is managing your mind around it, having the courage and making that decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you said to me, it's so funny because you said to me, I think you said you've been doing some things with manifestation, learning a little bit about manifestation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about your journey around that.
Yeah. And so I'm not a woo person, but I do believe that if you identify something that you want and you say it out loud and you put some focus on it, things start to happen. Like, and you ask mm-hmm. for what you want, you might get it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm like asking for things and I'm getting them. And it's, yeah, I don't know. It's been wild how that has developed.
It was so funny. Yesterday you said to me, you go, is it really work like this? Is it really like this? Is it so easy? And I was like, when you ask for things, it absolutely can be that easy. So it's so fun. So one of the fun practices that you're doing, you wanted to share that you're doing around kind of upgrading. I talk a lot about how when you do this inner work, when you step into your calling, when you let go of some of these old beliefs, it really upgrades your experience in life, what it's like mm-hmm. to build a business. So you go from being miserable, grinding through. I talk about sitting in the back of the airplane with all of your inner critics around you by the bathroom. And so you're doing something to upgrade your experience. What you were talking about, what are they called? I can't say the word.
Oh, incremental upgrades.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I learned the term incremental upgrades from Denise Duffield Thomas, and it just kind of floated around in the back of my mind for years. And then, so the idea is that if there's little things that are kind of bugging you or irritating you, and you just kind of deal with them, like you don't have to. You can make some small adjustments and really, really improve your day to day. So like one example of that is, and I had shared with you that in our shower, we had all of these shampoos and conditioners just littering the floor. It was just messy. Everybody's tripping over them every time we went in there. And then I'm like, wait, why am I putting up with this? I've been putting up with this for like years now because we didn't have a shelf. So I went to IKEA and I bought a suction cup shelf and I put the bottles up there. I even bought some pretty decorated bottles from Amazon that say, like shampoo and conditioner on them. And now every time I get into the shower, it's like a joy. I'm not tripping over all of this crummy stuff on the floor. And that's just like one of the small examples of things that I've been doing. But it's once you start doing it, you're like, hey, look at what I just solved. This is amazing. And I like interact with this thing every day and it's so much better. Then you start looking for more opportunities. And so that was like at the end of this year of like finding so much success with copywriting. I was going to a retreat and I don't love flying. And I usually spring for like the exit row. So because I'm tall and I have long legs, so I want to like stretch out my legs. And this time I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go first class. And I haven't been first class since I was 5 years old and we got upgraded when I was traveling with my mom. And it was amazing. And it was worth every penny. And now I'm like, I don't think I ever want to not travel first class if possible. And it's just like, yeah, it's all about that journey. There's no reason I have to feel stressed and cramped and uncomfortable when I can have a first class experience.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. It's like she had a real life as I'm talking about having your journey be a first class experience because you're doing the inner work and you're like, oh, and I flew first class and it was amazing. And, just 1 year prior to that, you were like, I may have to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that I love being able to share your story because number one, the message is how quickly it can turn around, not to give up, to find those little bits of joy in everyday life. And instead of tolerating these little things, like just these tiny little upgrades. Jonathan and I have talked about this in previous episodes about we have this idea that joy has to be these massive, big things that you have to wait so long for that you get tired of waiting and it becomes not worth it when just doing the little things, like making sure that I have fresh flowers in my office because I love the way they smell when I come in, that those little things help make that experience. We talk about wealth being a whole human experience and really redefining success is not just when you arrive at the destination, but how does the entire journey feel along the way? So part of that is having that calling, that thing that you love to do, finding a way to align money with it. What's your next level? What's the thing that you're working on now? You've stepped into doing the copywriting. So like now what's the next level of that for you?
Yeah. Well, right now it's raising my prices and getting more sustainable offers together. And then just continuing to refine my craft and like find the ways that I enjoy using it and learning it and just getting better at it. So that's kind of what's upmost on my mind at the moment.
And you're going to be joining us on the retreat too. So that's going to be awesome, where we're going to work on some of those money things, those money blocks that so often I think that we oftentimes think, well, if someone could just put what they do, something into ChatGPT, let's say. And I don't think that it does, like, it's not the same. What you do is really artistry. And it's so much more refined. It's so much more. I can't even put words to really what you do. And I love the human aspect of it. And so it's really easy to think, well, people pay for this if they could just do Chat GPT. But here's what I'm seeing all over the place is everybody sounds the same. And everybody's like, oh, I really like how this sounds in Chat GPT. I can't even say it because they sound like proper English or they sound like a better version. They don't sound like them. So you do something, though, really interesting if someone uses Chat GPT. You do this thing with the brand voice, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I have had a couple clients who love to use ChatGPT, but they didn't really know what their brand voice was. So I have this document that I can create for people called it's a brand voice guide. And it just, it lays out all the parts and pieces of how you speak and your personality and the words you like to use and the phrases and how you talk to your audience. And I've given that to clients and then they've gone and used that to train a Chat GPT to help them with like their everyday messaging. And you would think, okay, well then now they don't need me anymore, but they're still coming back to me for like the launch copy and the website copy because they're just, there's something more that needs to happen that I think a robot just can't do to really see to the heart of you. It can mimic that. It can come real close ChatGPT can give you a pep talk if you need it, but there's a whole different situation that happens when you sit down with a copywriter. Like when I sit down with clients and we're like, you got the mirror neurons going. We're looking at each other on Zoom and like the ideas are bubbling to the surface. And that's what I love because I'm an introvert and I'm an empath is like just finding the subtle nuances of you and pulling that into your copy. And that's just, it makes me so happy. Like I've even thought, could ChatGPT help me write my copy more efficiently or faster? I've given it a try here and there, but it's never quite right. And I've found that it robbed the joy from me of my work. Like you said, artistry, it's fun and it's creative. And if I have a robot do it for me, it kind of strips that away. But there's like something special that happens that I think only a human can pinpoint in how you speak.
And that's why I wanted to talk about that, because I know a lot of people go to ChatGPT. I don't know, I'm going to get it. I know a lot of people use AI to do some of these things, but even having the brand voice behind that for everyday communication. And then, like you said, for the special things, the things like website copy, you don't want necessarily your website copy to just be something that's very form and basic and sounds like everybody else. If you're driving traffic to your website, you want it to really sound like you. It's your digital you that someone can interact with and then be like, oh, okay, yes, this person really gets me. I like who they are. I like them. Now I'm compelled to reach out.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I think you really have that gift for. Is we talked a little bit yesterday about, sometimes people really want their website to look beautiful. But I think you can get away with an average looking website with really great emotional connected words. And that's where the magic really happens. The essence of you gets put into that website or whatever it is your mission is.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It weaves through everything that you do.
So I'm just so happy that you were here today to share this information with everyone. And how can people work with you? Let's be really clear. Like, how can you help people, business owners specifically? What are some of the things that you do for them?
Yeah. So the main things that I do are website copy, sales page copy. So if you're selling like a course or a membership in particular, and you have one major landing page selling that one offer, that's called a sales page. Most people hate writing those. I love it. I've done hundreds of them in my time. Sales pages and then emails. So this would be like your launch copy, or if you go to an event and then you're like, a bunch of people are going to land on my email list. I don't have a welcome sequence and I don't know what I'm going to tell them afterward. And I want to harness them while they're really warm. I can write like that post event welcome and nurture sequence. So you can get them to purchase now, while they're really warm and excited, and some social media here and there. And then there's the things like the copy voice guide for, some people need that for figuring out like if they have a turning point in their brand and they want to figure out what their voice is and how they should speak. And they want their team to all understand how they communicate. We can create that. I also do audits. So if you have a page, like you have a sales page, you're like, I don't think this is right. It's not working. It doesn't sound like me. I can go through and give you an assessment and tell you what you can change. So that's the main like body of services that I offer. And people can they can book a call on my website at sarahdesign.com. Even though I'm no longer offering design, I'm keeping that URL because I've owned it for more than 20 years and that's my baby now. But you can head there and book a call and I'd love to help you out.
And then you said also for people to connect with you on Instagram.
Yeah. So I'd love to hang out on Instagram and do stories, and people are welcome to message me there. Sometimes if someone isn't quite ready to book a call, they just want to ask a quick question. Instagram is great. And I'm Sarah Design Agency on Instagram. And that's Sarah with an H. So you can find me there.
Awesome. So any last thoughts that you would like to leave the audience with?
I guess just to go all in. Like if you are feeling like something needs to change and you're scared, once you commit, once you make that decision to go all in, there's this like laser focus that happens where you're just moving forward on that one thing. And you've taken something big and you made it small, and it's just so much simpler and so much easier, and the momentum will build faster than you thought possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And everyone, do make sure you connect with Sarah. She's amazing. You will love her. All right. So all that being said, I'm sending you so much love, and be well. If Jonathan were here, he would tell you that. Thanks for listening to the Conscious Edge podcast. Make sure you subscribe and take a moment to be kind and share this episode with someone you care about. Leave a review to help us bring more compassionate leaders building businesses and creating wealth to the table. And for show notes, head over to consciousedge.com/podcast. This podcast and the linked materials are presented solely for general information, educational, and entertainment purposes and should not be taken as personal or medical advice or any kind of mental health treatment. Please consult a medical or mental health professional if you feel you need such services. Please be advised that all investing and entrepreneurial endeavors involve risk, and the use of the education and information on this podcast and linked materials is at the user's own risk.